Hello everyone, welcome to the question and answer session on the end times. Here's today's question. In Revelation chapter 4 verse 1, John wrote that he was caught up to heaven before he talked about the great tribulation in later chapters, example in chapter 13. Does John being caught up to heaven in Revelation chapter 4 prove that the church will be raptured before the great tribulation? The answer is no, and here's a biblical proof. According to 1 Thessalonians 4:13-18, without the resurrection of the dead in Christ, there is no rapture of the church. The dead in Christ must rise first at Jesus' appearing, before those who are alive will be caught up with the resurrected saints to meet Jesus in the air. However, it was after John had been caught up to heaven in Revelation chapter 4 that he saw the time of the resurrection of the dead in Christ take place. For example, in Revelation 11:15-19 and Revelation 20:4-6. Therefore, to claim that John's experience of being caught up to heaven represents the rapture or a pre-tribulation rapture is to say that the rapture of the church happens before the resurrection of the dead in Christ, and that is inaccurate according to the scriptures. From John's own writing in Revelation 4:1, the only reason why he was caught up to heaven was for him to be shown things that were yet to take place from the time he was caught up to heaven. So we do not have to reject the very reason John gave for why he was caught up to heaven and replace that with some other reason. In 2 Corinthians 12:2, Paul talked about a man he knew, believed to be Paul himself, who was caught up to heaven. In Genesis 5:24 and in Hebrews 11:5, the Bible also talks about Enoch being caught up to heaven. None of these experiences is the exact representation of the rapture of the church, since they were not preceded by the resurrection of the dead in Christ. Similarly, John's experience in Revelation chapter 4 is no different from Enoch's experience and Paul's account, since it had no resurrection associated with it. Also, we only see just one person, that is John himself, being caught up to heaven in Revelation chapter 4, after which he sees the resurrection of the righteous or the first resurrection take place, example in Revelation 20:4-6. However, at the rapture, it is not a single person who is caught up to heaven to be shown the resurrection. Rather, all the dead in Christ who are resurrected, plus faithful Christians who are alive at that time, are all raptured together. This again totally disproves the suggestion that Revelation chapter 4 represents the rapture or a pre-tribulation rapture.